Hey there, and welcome to Breakfast with Mark Daniels for Monday, February 24th, 2020. Weather for Long Island looks like we stay warm through most of the work week with temps 45 to 50, nighttime lows about 40. There's a pretty good chance of rain tomorrow through Thursday, and by the weekend we cool down to where we should be about this time of year with daily highs in the upper 30s, nighttime lows in the low 20s. But again, no snow, and warmer than normal. Today is World Bartender Day. I've always been amazed by watching bartenders work. And sometimes I think I take their talents for granted. I know that this is no easy job. Although good bartenders make it look extremely easy. I guess you could compare a good bartender to a good chef. Chefs know how to combine ingredients to bring out certain flavors that you might not have expected from certain foods, while good bartenders know exactly which spirits and drinks and flavors to combine to give you the treat that you ordered. They are really masters of the craft, because I know that I could never go behind a bar and mix a drink that you might order. I probably don't know 98% of the drinks that they serve. I know a lot of time must go into learning to be a bartender from a textbook perspective. And then I suppose there's that, I guess you could call it an internship stage of learning to be a good bartender, where you try things, trial and error, to achieve the best taste of whatever drink that you might be serving. I'm certain that you don't just graduate bartender school and then start the happy hour shift the next day at your local tavern. I think it takes a lot of learning and a lot of patience. And then comes the personality aspect of being a bartender. You're dealing with the public, face on, every day that you go to work. And those good bartenders always make you feel like you're right at home when you sit down at the bar and order a drink. So today is a day to appreciate the staff at your local bar. They work pretty hard to keep the customers happy and often don't get paid very much. Remember to always be friendly with the bartender, especially by being patient if you have to wait to be served. Give the bartender a smile, say please and thank you. The bartender will appreciate it, and you're more likely to get better service the next time you buy a drink. And most importantly, don't forget tipping is expected. Make sure that you tip appropriately. So I wonder if anybody listening to Breakfast with Mark Daniels right now is a member of the McDonald's Quarter Pounder Club. I didn't know that the Quarter Pounder had a club, but apparently it does. I'm finding out that there are clubs for just about anything, including McDonald's Quarter Pounders. If you choose to join the McDonald's Quarter Pounder Club, or if you're already a member, they're offering something that's going to be out very soon that will make your home smell just like the real thing, the Quarter Pounder with cheese. And quite frankly, I can't say it's a bad smell, because when I go into McDonald's, I just love the way it smells. You can smell that Quarter Pounder being made ready for your order. Each candle smells like a different ingredient: beef, ketchup, pickles, cheese, onion, and a sesame seed bun. And if you burn them all at once, voila, they smell like a Big Mac. Next time you have the neighbors over for a party, maybe you should try this and see what they say. As mentioned, it's not available yet, so maybe you want to look into signing up for your Big Mac fan club account today. And here's something that I really believe has a lot more mass appeal than the McDonald's Quarter Pounder Club. It's about the show Friends. It is. It's happening. When they said it wouldn't happen, then it would, and then it's not going to happen. Well, now it's actually going to happen. The Friends cast is reuniting for an exclusive, untitled, and yet unscripted special on HBO Max. And it's all of them: Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, Lisa Kudrow, Matt LeBlanc, Matt Perry, and David Schwimmer. They're going to return to the original Friends soundstage to celebrate the long-running series, which ended back in 2004. Netflix had been carrying Friends up till the end of 2019, all 236 episodes. But that ended as of January 1st, 2020. So HBO Max will debut in May of 2020, along with the Friends reunion. And oh, by the way, according to Variety, all 6 stars will receive at least $2.5 million apiece for participating in the special. And now on to something a little bit more Long Island controversial. More specifically, Suffolk County. Smoking has been banned in just about every public place in Nassau and Suffolk County, and pretty much the entire country. Gone are the smoking cars that they used to have on the Long Island Railroad, and gone are the ashtrays that used to be part of your airline seat. Even your car used to have a cigarette lighter, which has now been renamed as a power outlet to keep all of your handheld devices fully charged while you drive. That push in, wait for it to pop out thing that used to heat up to light a cigarette is out of production. And for good reason. Smoking kills. No argument with that. And there's always been that issue of secondhand smoke, and that's why it's been banned in public places, places that we share space with other people. And according to CBSN, Suffolk County is proposing a law to ban smoking in apartment complexes, condominiums, and multifamily dwellings, which essentially says that they could ban smoking in your own house if you live in one of those types of dwellings. According to the law, it's designed to protect those who have chosen not to smoke and to keep them from being exposed to the secondhand smoke. They go on to say that secondhand smoke can permeate through cracks in walls, electrical lines, plumbing, and those ventilation systems. And according to statistics, that shows that more than 3,000 non-smokers in New York State die each year from heart disease and lung cancer caused by secondhand smoke. Comments on banning smoking in your own apartment or condominium are as follows. It's impossible to enforce, one person said. If they want to smoke in their apartment, I think it's totally fine, according to another person. And somebody else said you should have the discretion, obviously, to smoke on your own property. And from what I'm getting out of the story is that if you're sharing space with anyone in any way, then smoking in that shared space should be banned. But if you're in a condo or an apartment building, let's say, even though there are walls and things in between one apartment or one unit and the next, that secondhand sneaky smoke has a funny way of finding its way around to just about everybody. The law hasn't said anything about banning smoking on your private property, your detached home, if you will. Public hearings are scheduled to discuss this proposed law at the end of the month or early next month. We always have public hearings here, more of an informal type than maybe the Suffolk County Legislature. So we'd like to know your opinion on banning smoking inside your apartment, your condo, or your multi-family home. You can comment on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And now moving on to strange roadside attractions. I saw a post on Hey Long Island Do You Remember Facebook page, and it said this: the Big Duck in New York might just be the strangest roadside attraction yet. The Big Duck. We all know the Big Duck, or if you haven't seen it, we certainly must have heard about it in Flanders. So here's a few statistics on the Big Duck, in case you didn't know. It's gigantic. It was built in 1931, and it's about 20 feet tall, and its eyes... By the way, if you're at a trivia party and you need this, this is good. Its eyes were made out of Ford Model T taillights. Okay. The Big Duck was originally a place for a duck farmer to sell his or her duck eggs, but that business died in the 1980s. So in place of selling duck eggs, they've turned it into a museum and a gift shop. And during the holiday season, the Big Duck is lit up with a beautiful array of Christmas lights, which is actually lit just like a Christmas tree, countdown and all. Other interesting roadside attractions include the Smithtown Bull. It's a 14-foot tall bull built in 1941, which commemorates the founding of Smithtown. Winnie the Witch. It's a gigantic witch made of metal and scrap wood. It looks down on shoppers from above Wick's Nursery in St. James. And Winnie the Witch isn't only there for Halloween. She stays perched on a rooftop since 1976 when she was built. If you're ever looking to buy seafood and you visit Atlantic Seafood Fish Market in Santa Mauritius, there is a gigantic shark mouth awaiting as you enter the store. And then there's the Stargazer. It took me a long time to figure out what the name was because I'd always see this thing as I'm coming down, I think it's Route 111, to get onto Sunrise Highway to go out east. The Stargazer was created by artist Linda Scott in 1996. And it's actually a deer looking up at the sky. You have to look at it for a minute to try to make sense of it, but that's supposedly what it is. And then there's that 30-foot-tall aluminum statue that appeared at Gabreski Airport in West Hampton Beach. She's called the Walking Figure, and she's a 5,000-pound sculpture that stands on a concrete base and depicts a woman with a rectangular torso striding forward, arms in mid-swing. You can't miss it. So what we'd like to know is some other interesting roadside attractions that you might see in your neighborhood. That makes Long Island a much more interesting place to live, wouldn't you say? Love getting your comments on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally today, I saw this in the money section of USA Today, and it says, grocery shopping, signs you may be spending too much money at the supermarket. And that's how it usually is with me. Once my order is totaled up, and I'm informed of what I have to pay for that shopping cart full of groceries, it always seems it's way more than I intended to spend at the grocery store that day. So these are some of the things that we should all watch out for when we make that weekly or bi-weekly or maybe monthly trip to the supermarket. The first thing the article says is do not shop without a grocery list. And when I do have one, it's usually written down on a napkin or a scrap piece of paper, but I know that these are the things I must buy because we're probably out. It's a good way to stop yourself, they say, from buying food that you don't need or probably won't use. Nothing worse than buying something, especially when it comes to fresh fruits and vegetables, that you never use and end up having to toss because they get old. Number 2, the reason you're spending too much at the grocery store is because you don't plan your meals before you shop, which means you have to spend 15, 20 minutes, half hour debating on the week's menu. Now, your plans don't have to be specific, just kind of a rough idea of what you might be having for dinners or breakfast or lunches that week. It'll keep you from buying things that, again, you're not going to use. Another thing they say, and we've heard this many times, never, ever shop when you're hungry because everything looks good, even that kale. Other things we do at the grocery store to waste money? Well, we buy out-of-season produce, which will cost certainly a lot more because they are shipped here and they're grown in other places. Or you buy pre-cut produce. I mean, look, there's nothing like if you're making a dish that has onions and celery and you have to chop and dice and slice. There's nothing better than just opening the package and just dumping it in. Yeah, I mean, it does save a lot of time and aggravation, but it's going to cost you a lot more money. And here's something else I found kind of fascinating. If you pay with a credit card at the grocery store, you're more than likely to spend twice as much as those who pay in cash because it's just so much easier. We don't have to be accountable for it. Just give them the card and take the groceries and go. And 2 more things that cause us to waste money at the grocery store. One is buying those ready-made meals. So easy, bring them home and throw them in the microwave or the oven, and voila, we have a meal. But that costs a lot of money. And something I'm guilty of, because I don't have the patience for them, is shopping without coupons. I know shopping with coupons has never been easier. You can download the entire coupon booklet into your phone. There's no more get the scissor out and cut into a newspaper and put them in an envelope and then go through that envelope when you're at the cashier looking for that save 20 cents on a jar of Vlasic dill pickles. No, the way the apps work is that they take all your coupons and they put them in a virtual envelope, making them much easier to find and to redeem. I just haven't had the patience to do it. There's lots of other ways to save money at the grocery store, and you can check it out for yourself at usatoday.com. And that'll do it for this episode of Breakfast with Mark Daniels. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Breakfast with Mark Daniels can be heard on all major podcasting sites, including, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Alexa, and Buzzsprout.com. We have a unique opportunity to help you grow your business. Advertise with Breakfast with Mark Daniels. Send me an email to breakfastwithmarkdaniels@gmail.com for more information. Don't forget to share and like Breakfast with Mark Daniels. That in the past and in the future will help us keep growing. Have yourself a great Monday. We'll see you tomorrow for Breakfast with Mark Daniels.